Hey friends, over 60% of you are listening to me right now on an Apple product. iPhone, iPad, iTunes. I need your help. The truth is, Apple will make this podcast more discoverable to new listeners the more reviews it has. So I'm here asking you to take a moment and leave a review. If you've gained any value from this podcast, the greatest thing you can do for it, besides spreading the word and telling friends, is leaving a review. It's real simple. If you're on your phone, head over to my podcast page within the Apple Podcast app and leave a review. Or if you're on a computer, you can head over to my podcast page within the iTunes app. That's it. That's all I ask. And if you have other podcasts that you love, do them a favor and do the same for them. It'll make their day. Now let's get this podcast started already. Oh, not too much. Just had Raw on the background. You're a wrestling fan, right?
Of course.
Yeah. How long you been watching?
My whole entire life.
Same here. Same here. Well,
Yeah.
It feels like it. I guess I got started in probably like 89 watching it like full time. And then from there, it just becomes an addiction.
Oh, yeah, of course. I think I started full time in like 96.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, you're a youngin', aren't you?
What's that?
You're a youngin'.
Yeah, I'm 25.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 36. So I got a few years on you.
Yeah, but I'm one of those crazy fans that decided to get into the business, so.
Yeah, how did that work? How did you get how did you get in the business? I'm fascinated by this.
There's a local school by me that used to be owned by Mikey Whipwreck.
Okay.
So the end of ECW, their school was in Hicksville, Long Island. When it closed, Mikey bought all the rings, all the equipment and everything, and he moved the school to another location on Long Island.
Right.
And it's been there ever since. And I knew about it since I was in like middle school, and I just knew that one day I was going to join. And then, when I started my journey, push came to shove, and I finally joined.
Ah, it's amazing, man. So
Yeah.
have you wanted to be like a wrestler all your life?
Yeah, that's literally what was the driving force kind of behind me starting my journey.
Damn, man, that's impressive, dude. For people that are not hip to you just yet, how much weight have you lost since you got started?
Down 244 pounds at the moment, so half my starting weight.
Holy crap! Wow, that's insane, bro. That is insane.
Yeah, man, it's been wild.
That I believe me, we're gonna get there, because I mean, we all start somewhere, and I mean, I would definitely want to get into that. But before we get into all that, we really got to go back to the very, very, very beginning. When you were young, were you a larger kid, or did this grow? Did you become larger later in life?
So basically, we'll take you back now.
Yeah.
When I was born, I was born with a little bit of complications. I swallowed my meconium when I was born, and because of that, they say that I developed asthma from a very young age.
Right.
So I had asthma basically since birth, and because of that, I was put on a steroid very early on in life called prednisone.
Okay.
So anyone who's taken prednisone before knows, it either stunts your growth or it makes you gain weight. So I'm 6'5" and I was 500 pounds. So
wow. Yeah. Damn.
So that's basically how that started. So the prednisone, I mean, it literally, not only does it make you eat and it makes you want to just eat everything in sight, but it just naturally makes you put on weight. Like I had a moon face forever until like a year and a half ago when it finally started to deflate. I just had this wide, big face. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that was literally just from the drugs.
Man, that is insane. And I would imagine, you mix that with unhealthy type tendencies. We've all been there, man. Right, I want to just tear up some pizza, tear up some burgers. What was your guilty pleasure of choice?
Oh, pizza.
Pizza.
By far.
Well, being up in New York, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I haven't had a slice of pizza in 2.5 years. and it still drives me nuts.
That's impressive. I had a similar story. I don't know if you've heard much from the podcast, but I talk about very frequently how my kind of bit of addiction was always like McDonald's,
Oh yeah.
Burger King, Taco Bell, Wendy's. Like those four were like the absolute trouble. So much like yourself, where you say, "Hey, I haven't had pizza in 2 years." I've been clean off of those four places for the past 2 years, and what
That's
I found
awesome, bro.
works for me was like just finding healthier alternatives. So it's like you could still work it in somehow, just not from those places. Like, if
Right,
you could find
exactly.
turkey burger instead of red meat, so on and so forth. So how the hell do you go without pizza though? That I got to be honest with you, man. You're a brave dude. I don't know how many people could go without pizza, especially from the New York area, man. Cause I've been up
Yeah.
there and I've tore up some pizza.
Man, I tell you, it's hard, and I mean, I come from an Italian family, so
Oh yeah.
it's just pizza, pasta, sauce all day long. But thankfully, I'm blessed with a great little sister who every now and again will make me some homemade cauliflower pizza. So I get it in. I just get it in without the bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. I tell people so often, if you can find the way to make it work for you, like if there's a way that you can, as I like to call it, hack it, you can
Right.
hack the system, hack the program, make it work for you. That's really the way that you're going to win, because I think, I don't know what your experience is, but I think when you listen so much to what other people want you to do, oftentimes you can set yourself up for failure, because if you don't perfect it, then it makes you feel like crap because, hey, I feel like a failure. I couldn't do it.
Oh,
And,
of course.
so when you find out how to customize it for you, it's like, wow, now we can do some things here.
Right. I mean, honestly, it got to the point where I just had to stop listening to everybody around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When push came to shove and it was finally time to make the moves that I had to make, it was like I just cut off everyone around me, not because I didn't care about what they said,
Sure.
but because I had to care more about if I was going to let myself down, because that was stressful enough. I had to worry, to add that on top of it, to add them, wanting me to go down this right path and me thinking about letting them down was just way too much. So, I had to cut the cord for a while on people's opinions.
I think a lot of people, they generally mean well, but a lot of times they read like Facebook articles or whatever. They know somebody's cousin's friend that did it this
Right.
way. And, again, they mean well, but it's like, man, sometimes they really want to drive it into you. Like, hey, you should try this. And
And those are the same people that have never stepped a foot in a gym.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. They want to tell you they want to give you the blueprint, but they've not executed oftentimes. That is the case. So you said you did reach 500, or you were near 500?
So before I started checking myself, I was definitely way past 500 pounds.
Wow.
I mean, I would probably clock myself in at somewhere between like 500 and 510 at my biggest.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I used to weigh myself on a freight scale. My family owns a trucking company in JFK.
Right.
And that was the only way that I could weigh myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, the same scale that's weighing pallets, that's what I was stepping on every week to find out, what I was weighing. And before that, I mean, I wasn't stepping on the scale the only time I would step on a scale, honestly, is if I went to the hospital with an asthma attack and they had to weigh me. Other than that, I did not want to know what that number was.
Right. I mean, mentally in your mind, it's like, man, if it ain't broke, let's not fix it. Let's just keep on living life. And,
Exactly.
we don't want to find out. So what at this point is like the snap, the as they say in wrestling a lot, that broke the camel's back, essentially? Because I feel like a lot of times it's a picture, or there's a moment, somebody says something, or you just see something. And like for you, what was that moment?
So that moment for me was, I mean, I almost died in my house.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep it 100 with you. I suffered a really bad asthma attack. So I code blued in my house, and paramedics came to my house. My next door neighbor actually happens to be the fire commissioner of my neighborhood. So when they get a call that something's going on this block, they just send the first available people over here. So paramedics show up, and they're getting me on a stretcher, what have you, and nobody on the scene was ALS certified. So for the listeners that don't know what that is, basically, in order to administer epinephrine, which is basically natural adrenaline in a bottle,
Right.
You need to have a special certification. Nobody on scene had that certification. So I'm code blueing. I'm going in and out of consciousness, and a paramedic looks me dead in the face and says, "I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
So all's what I remember to this day is this guy's face is burnt into my skull.
Yes.
So now I'm in the back of an ambulance, and probably, I don't know, I want to say a year prior, maybe less than a year prior, I lost my grandmother, who,
Sorry.
was, thank you. So who was everything to me my whole entire life. She raised me the whole nine. So I had lost her, and I was going through a very bad depression. I had put on probably the most amount of weight in a short period of time that I ever did in my whole life. So now I'm on the back of this ambulance, and I remember just looking at the clock on the ceiling of the ambulance over the door, and I'm going in and out of consciousness. And I just remember praying to my grandmother, please just give me one more shot. Like, if you give me this one shot, I will make this right. I promise. I promise.
Yeah.
The next thing I know, I wake up in the emergency room and I'm alive. I'm hooked up to a BiPAP machine, and everything's not okay. I still have to fulfill this promise that I made to whatever being is out there.
Sure.
But but I made it out. I made it out alive. So, that's really the epicenter of where my journey began.
And I'll tell you what, man, losing the grandparents is rough. I lost all four within like a year of each other, except for the final one where it was like maybe a 2-year break. I appreciate it, bro. But you know what? The thing is too, and like I've not lost parents, I can't speak on that, but like losing a grandparent is like one of the roughest things. Me lose aunts and uncles, and of course none of it is like less hurtful than the other, but the grandparents I feel like is extra rough, especially like when you say you're really close to them, and I was close to mine, and that stuff will wreck you, man.
So, yeah, definitely. I mean, I went into a dark depression, man.
Yeah.
But,
I totally feel you on that. So you say, okay, I will make this promise. I'm going to make this right. I'm going to, start. How do you, for a lot of people, I feel like when they listen to these kind of podcasts, they're like, okay, well, it's easy for them to say, hey, just start and just do this, but you can't just start, or, they have these things in their mind. So it's like, how do you get your start? How do you start, formulating a plan? What's going through your mind? How do you get started?
So, basically what's going through my mind is, so I'm in the hospital for 2 days.
Right.
I get discharged. Now, as I stated before, I've had asthma my whole entire life. So for years, my doctor has been trying to make me go at the time to this pulmonary rehab facility, because there was no way at 500 pounds I was walking into a regular gym and, trying to exercise. I mean, that was just not happening.
Right.
So he put me in contact with this pulmonary rehab, and basically I knew it was time that I had to join. He'd been trying to get me to join for years. So finally I signed up, and I walk into this place. And literally, it was just like tiny weights. I'm talking like 5 to 20 pounds max.
Right.
In the middle of a room, small little circuits, 4 treadmills, and everybody in the room was 70 and older. I was the youngest person from everybody on the staff to everybody who was a member there. I was the youngest person. Right. So I was there for, I want to say 6 months, maybe 6 to 8 months max. Yeah. And I was doing the bit, I was getting in the work, but I just knew that I was going to make no progression there, I was just doing the same routine over and over again. And there was days where I would show up and I would sit in my car and I wouldn't even go in. You know what I mean? Like, I would just wait the whole time of when I was supposed to be there from beginning to end, and I would just leave and I would not even walk in the building. Wow. So basically what happened after that was, my uncle was going to a local gym by my house, and he put me in contact with a trainer over there who happened to go to the same high school as me. Okay. Crazy, I know. Yeah. So he was a year younger than me, and he himself had lost 100 pounds. Right. So my uncle was like, listen, if you could do it, then you could definitely get my nephew to do it. Yeah. So, I went in there, I signed up, and I hit it off. Me and his name is Steve. Me and Steve are best friends.
Now, does he remember you from high school, or?
So we were hallway buddies. That's how me and him like to put it. Like, we would say hi to each other in the hallway because we knew who we were, but we weren't boys. Like, we weren't going out, we weren't hanging out, but we were hallway buddies.
You were acquaintances.
Right, exactly.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. So I just start working out with him, and I was literally working out 6 days a week. Wow. Every week, 6 days a week.
That's serious work right there.
Yeah, man. And Anyway, continue. I mean, I don't want to cut you off.
No. That's so. So you start training with this guy, and what kind of workouts is he putting you through? Like, how does he kind of get you really going with it?
So basically, I mean, my mentality and his mentality is, and there's people report other stuff all the time, but lightweights of high repetition will burn fat, and that's literally what I did for 2 years, was light weights, high reps, over and over and over again till the cows came home. You know what I mean?
Right.
And an hour cardio almost every night. I mean, I'm not going to lie and tell you that I was doing an hour cardio off the bat every day. You know, I couldn't do 5 minutes when I first started. But once we got to the point, which was probably like 11 months in, a year and a half in, I was finally hitting that hour. And I would not leave the gym till I hit that hour. You know what I mean? Like, I would just – no one would talk to me. Anybody that I knew in the gym would just not talk to me unless I got my hour in. So I had a great support group. I had people who would help me keep accountable when I could be accountable myself. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't find that version of me yet on the journey to keep accountable myself. Which
takes a while to find, by the way. People think that it just comes overnight, and that's not the case at all.
Oh, no, not at all, my friend.
So and are you still training with this guy now, Steve?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yep. We've been training since late 2015, early 2016.
I seen a video of you working out. Is this the guy who's like talking mad trash to you? Like, yes, you better effing do this.
Yep. That's Steve.
That's a hell of a way for motivation right there. When you got somebody pretty much in your face, like, hey man, you better get this going.
Well, the thing was, I mean, he knew what the bigger picture was that I wanted. Like I said at the beginning of the conversation, like, I really wanted to join wrestling school.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that was my end all be all.
Sure. So
he would put it straight up. Listen, you're not going to be able to physically do this if you don't get this done now. And he was right. I didn't make that step to join until he literally gave me the blessing. Like, I think you can handle it now. You know what I mean?
Sure. Do you look? Do you look at, like, by the way, like, you look at like some of the bigger wrestlers, like, before you got started, and say, well, man, I could just be one of these bigger guys, like, I don't know.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time, even to this day. Because honestly, I don't know. I think it takes the body and the mind a long time to catch up with one another. That's just always been my thought process.
For sure.
Because when I wake up in the morning, I still, until I look in the mirror, think that I wake up and I'm 500 pounds all the time. I still dream as if I'm 500 pounds, which is wild to me. So all the time I'll be watching wrestling, indie wrestling, WWE wrestling, whatever, and I'll see bigger guys or classic matches, and I'm like, wow, I could work just like this guy. Like, let me study him. And he now is like 200 pounds heavier than I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it changes the whole ballgame. I still haven't found myself in the ring because I have no idea how to work yet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be a tall guy, if I'm supposed to be a big guy, because my mind is just not settled on the fact that I've lost 244 pounds.
And bro, that's so key, because I know I can only speak for myself, but like, I know that even today I've lost, just over 100, and I'm like, I still, awesome, I appreciate it, but I still see the big guy. I still feel like the big guy. Like, let's forget for a moment that I used to wear a 5XL and now I'm in a 2XL, but I still see that stomach poking out, and it pisses me off from time to time.
Right.
And I have to stop myself. I'm like, hold on a second, dude. Like, you lost over 100 pounds. Like, you need to like chill out being hard on yourself, and you need to realize that you've done something major. Yes, there's more work to do, but you need to realize at the same time how far you've come and not forget who you were, where you came from.
That's exactly how I am, man. All the time. It's like, I used to be a 5XL. I was a 6XL right before I started my journey, and right. I'm a single XL now. If I really wanted to, I could fit in a large. And all the time, I get so hard on myself, and I try not to. But at the end of the day, it's so hard not to get hard on yourself, because you know where you've been, and you know that you've lived that lifestyle. And there's so many people out there who have never lived that lifestyle that you encounter in life, and they always want to try to tell you how you should live. Like when I was heavy, I don't know how it was for you, but when I was heavy, so many people tried to tell me how to live my life.
Yeah.
But you've never stepped foot in my shoes. You know what I mean? So
Oh
like
yeah.
to this day, if I'm walking in a grocery store or if I'm at a concert or you know, anywhere, I still maneuver myself around people as if I'm this big, huge being. And people look at me like I'm crazy. You know what
Right.
I mean? But I give people more than an adequate enough room to get past me, and they stare at me like I have 9 heads. You
No,
know,
it's
it's
very
wild.
fair. Yeah. Damn,
So
man.
like I was just recently in Disney a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, and I was getting on rides, and I would say to my friends, I would say to my girlfriend, I don't think that I'm going to be able to fit on this ride. And they would look at me like, are you crazy? Like, why would you not fit on this ride? So the whole time I'm sitting online and I'm shitting the pill, like, I'm not going to get on this ride. I'm going to be too big. I'm going to get embarrassed. They're going to tell me to leave.
Yeah.
And then I would get on the ride and I would have more than enough room. And I would pop myself, you know, another wrestling term, but I would pop myself every time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, this is crazy. To this day, if I get on a plane, if I get on a bus, if I get on a boat, it's like, I cannot believe that I'm able to fit in these small places.
Yeah, it blows your mind, honestly. I mean, at this point you can probably fit on any ride you want to, right?
Yes, I was not turned away, thankfully, off of one ride when I was in Disney. It's wild.
Dude, now you're in New York. I talk a lot on my podcast about last summer I spent a whole summer trying to fit on every ride at different theme parks. And one of the parks that I visited a couple times this past summer was Six Flags in New Jersey, which has a lot of badass rides. I'm thinking, and maybe next summer we're going to have to meet up one of these times and go hit some of these rides
so
together.
Down. Yes, 100%. I was actually there for the Halloween thing that they do. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now.
Yeah.
And I was there a couple of months ago, and I believe actually you liked the post. So I was able to get on to the Batman ride that they have there. Now, little sidebar, but I hadn't
That's a tough
been at
one.
Six Flags, honestly, since I was like 13 years old.
Right.
You know, so that's a lie. I was there when I was 13, and the whole backstory as to why it was so important to me to go back was my senior cut day in high school. We all went to Six Flags.
Right.
So I walk into this theme park, and I'm hype. I'm ready to go. I love roller coasters. And we go to El Toro. So I don't know if you got to check out El Toro when you were there.
Yeah.
That's like their, oh yeah. So you know. So it's their big wooden coaster.
Yeah.
So I wait 2.5 hours on this line with all my buddies. We're all ready to go.
Right.
I get up to the front of the line. I get in the cart. I try to close the lap band, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And it doesn't go down.
Right.
So now everybody's on the ride, and 2 people come over and they're trying to push this thing down on me, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden the guy gets on the mic and he says that I have to get off the ride. So now I'm embarrassed in front of hundreds of people.
Yes.
You know, all my buddies are on this ride. I have to get off. I have to wait where the exit sign is for them to go and enjoy the ride and wait for them to come off. So the rest of the day I'm walking around Six Flags not being able to get on anything, and all my buddies are having a stellar time and I can't do anything. That was that's
rough.
That was my little revenge. Yeah.
No, I had a similar story here in Virginia. They have a park called King's Dominion. There's a ride called the Flight of Fear, and almost 8 years ago now, I had to do the Walk of Shame, and there was like people that was like, you know, talking smack, and they looked like they were like really like rolling their eyes and very upset that I was holding them up as I had to be, you know, let out of the ride and all that stuff. And I didn't go back for like 7 years, and I went back last summer and I got on every damn ride one by one.
That's right.
But Six Flags, that place blew me away because I knew that, you know, once I had lost all this weight, I went back and I just started getting on ride after ride after ride. And I will say though, Batman is still a challenge for me. That was probably the one that I could not do still at 280, but everything else, it was fair game. El Toro, I fit even on El Toro, although that thing beat the hell out of me. And I have friends that are like 40, 50 pounds smaller than me. And it's like, dude, I don't even know if I want to get on this thing because it's so rough, but
it's brutal, man.
It is. You give me King Dakar or, you know, Nitro or one of these. I'm all in, bro. I'm all in.
I still haven't checked out King Dakar, so you're definitely gonna have to come up here and we'll ride it together.
Oh man, that thing. Let me tell you, because when you go all these years without riding these rides, and you know you lose the weight. The way that ride, the best I could describe it. So all the roller coaster junkies that are listening, just try to picture this with me for a moment, but they get you on this little launch thing. It's almost like an aircraft carrier technology is what I understand. And they roll you out on this thing, and you just got to stare at this daunting hill. And it's about 400 and I think 50 feet up. And so they bring you out and you hear, you know, the little beep, 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 and you hear that and you feel yourself coming back just a hair, and then you launch off. And this is the worst part of the ride. Now, I love it by now, but when you first go on it, it's very daunting because they just, like, you have no control whatsoever, John. Like, you're just going up and up and up and up and up. And then when you get to the top, they slow you down for like a half of a second so you could take it in. And I literally reached out both of my arms to the air and I yelled, "I'm on top of the world, Ma." Like, because it was awesome, dude, when you're up there and you can see everything. And like I said, they slow you down just a little bit so you could take it in for about maybe 1.5, 2 seconds. And then they drop you in this corkscrew type deal. And man, this ride is unreal. I drive up 4 hours just to ride that ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
we definitely have to do it together
next summer, man. We got to do it. I got the season pass. So, you talk about going on these rides. It gets me excited. It's like, when you reach these goals and you lose all this weight and you can do these new things, it gives you like a whole new lease on life. Like, you put in the work. You put in the work and you work and you work and you work and you gotta enjoy it, while you got it, because dude, like you said, man, you nearly died. I myself 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, nearly died. And there are many people that have been on this podcast that have been near death situations. And it's like, man, if you're out there just walking around existing in this life and you're not living it to the fullest, you're doing yourself a disservice, because there are people that have lost their lives or, would kill to be in your position. Maybe they're far worse off and you're out here walking around just taking this thing for granted, man. We can't have that, bro.
Nope, not at all, man. Exactly. It's one of those things, you don't know what you have till it's gone, but you don't know what you have till it's almost taken away.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
When it's right there in front of you.
Right, exactly. When it's just starting to leave your grasp and someone's trying to take it from you, that's when you know how sweet it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's talk about some of the food and stuff like that. We touched on it briefly earlier from the get-go, but this is one of the things. It's like it's one of the tough parts, because you could very easily, go to the gym and learn all this stuff. But if you don't have the right relationship with the food, and I myself, I've talked about this on the podcast, I still struggle with this to this day, a time or two, but it's like, man, if you don't have that relationship down with the food, that's just as key. And so, how does that, how was your relationship with food as you were starting this process?
So back to the beginning of my journey, actually. So I was in the gym, like I told you, for over a year. So now I'm in the gym for over a year, and I've dropped 80 pounds. Right. So I've dropped 80 pounds. Now my problem was, like I said earlier, I had bad asthma. So because of my bad asthma, I would get sick, and every time I would get sick, I would be put back on steroids. So now I'm back on these steroids and I'm putting on weight that I've worked so hard to lose.
Right.
So now I'm down 80 pounds, and my doctor looks at me and he says, "Listen, I think that you should consider bariatric surgery." So now I was always one of those guys who was never about it.
Right.
I was never ever about bariatric surgery because I was not educated on it the way that I should have been. Now, I was one of those people. Now, I was told years ago to, consider it. And I had looked into it, and I gathered all this information on it, and I really studied the procedure. But, I guess it's one of those things that until you live it, you don't know how it is. Right. Because I always looked at it as a silver bullet. I always looked at it as the easy way out. And until I began that process, I didn't know that it's not that way. So when it came to eating, it was like I was thrown a fucking curveball and a half. Right. The process that it takes to even, begin considering bariatric surgery is crazy. You do all these tests. For those out there who don't know, you have to go through months and months of tests for your doctors and your insurance companies and what have you. So now, once you get a surgery date, you get put on a liquid diet. Like, wow, I'm talking no solid food for over a month. So I'm sitting there and I'm drinking protein shakes, Diet Snapple, Jell-O, and protein pudding every day for a month. Wow. Now I'm the kid who was eating a whole pie of pizza, a dozen garlic knots and a dozen wings in a sitting.
Yes, me too.
So, exactly. So now I'm sitting there and I'm literally just having liquid. That's all I was allowed to have. So I get the procedure. long story short, I get the procedure and I wake up and now I have to relearn how to eat, which was crazy in itself. So, with how technology is now, I had 3/4 of my stomach removed and I was home the next day. You know what I mean?
That blows me
to this
away.
day, yeah, it blows me away to this day now. So the next day I wake up, I'm in my house and I'm not hungry, which I've never not been hungry my whole entire life.
Yeah.
So now I'm like freaking out. So like now my mind is like in 7 different places and it's like, John, you need to eat because, that's your routine. So, I wake up and I don't know what to eat because technically I'm not allowed to eat solid food yet. So, I make myself a protein shake and I can't even get like 1/4 of it down,
Right.
So time goes by. Now the portions, for me, I feel like it's different for everybody because when I was considering bariatric surgery back in the day, someone's brother's aunt, sister, uncle, got it done and they would always try to tell you about it. And they would say, oh, this one, ordered a sandwich at the diner and then had to cut it into thirds and they were only able to handle a third. Well, everybody's different. First of all, like I said in the beginning, I'm 6'5". Naturally, my body needs to take in just a little bit more than the average bear.
Sure.
So I was able to eat maybe a little bit more than, say, the other guy who had it done. But I was still eating, way less than I was before. And I had to relearn to eat. So before I got put on the liquid diet, that's when I swore away bread, carbs in general, pizza, pastas. That was it. I had one last hurrah. Me and my buddies got pizza the night before I wasn't allowed to eat solid food anymore.
Yep.
And that was it. And then after that, and to this day, it's just, lean proteins, red meat, every now and again. I try to eat red meat like once to twice a week, if that.
Yep.
Ground turkey, turkey breast, chicken breast, and vegetables. And that's really all I eat. And when I tell people that, they look at me like I'm crazy. But, you don't need much more than that. Everything else is like for just enjoyment is how I look at it. It took a long time for me to separate eating for pleasure and eating for fuel. You know what I mean?
That's huge right there. What you just said, that is huge because I feel like a lot of people, it's a pleasure. We celebrate. Let's go out and eat,
Right.
I'm bored. Let me eat. It's this broken relationship that you have with yourself where you just have to eat. And
you don't know why,
Yeah.
Like, it's so like beat into us into society. Like you go to the movies and the first thing is there is the concession stand. You go to a baseball game, the first thing that is there is a hot dog and a hot pretzel. Like we're just so accustomed to eating for no reason that we just eat. But why? You know what I mean? Like America has an obesity problem because there's more McDonald's out there than there is gyms.
Oh my God, you ain't kidding.
Like you could walk down the street and pass 7 different fast foods and not eat the same thing twice in a week.
Yeah, and to your point, for me, when I was going home, like I drive 75 miles round trip for work, 30 whatever each way, and so for me on the way home, I'd be sitting in traffic, bored to death. So that's when I go stop at McDonald's, 3 McDoubles with the Big Mac sauce. Let's get a 4-piece nugget, a medium chocolate shake. That was my order. Every day, 5 days a week. Oh, I'm not done yet. I go for breakfast. Oh, here's Wawa. Here's Taco Bell. When Taco Bell rolled out their breakfast menu, dude, I ordered one of each thing on the menu that morning and ate the whole damn thing. I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you why.
No, I couldn't tell you why either, man. And it would be like I would go to Taco Bell with my buddies and I was spending $35 just on myself in Taco Bell.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, the crazy thing to me was how much money that I saved by just changing my lifestyle.
Oh my God. Imagine the things you could do with all that money. What did you do? What have you done with all that extra money now?
Went to wrestling school.
There you go. I love that. Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head there. It's like, man, we're just eating and we don't even know why the hell we're eating.
Right. You have a birthday. All of a sudden there's a birthday cake.
You gotta have cake.
Why is this going on?
Thanksgiving is a whole holiday based around eating.
Yeah.
The hell with being with your family. It's about how much turkey I'm going to have.
Exactly. But you know what? That's the one holiday that I could say that you can truly hack. To steal your own term,
sure.
That's the one holiday that you can hack and make it work for you. Because I remember when I was heavy, I couldn't stand Thanksgiving.
Yep.
because there was just so much healthy food. Like I don't want to eat turkey. Like I want macaroni. Like I want pizza. I want this. I want that. But now it's like, wow, I could have, some turkey breast right now, and I could have some vegetables, and I'm good. So that's the one holiday that really changed for me after I lost weight, was Thanksgiving.
Right. So with the bariatric surgery, and I'm not a super expert on the surgery. I've not done it, but that's the one where, isn't that where they make your stomach like really small? Like they cut it and okay.
So I had gastric sleeve surgery. So what gastric sleeve surgery is, for those listening that don't know, is, say your stomach was a football if you were going to punt it from end to end. You follow what I'm saying? So now you're holding it as if you're going to punt it. You're cutting it in half, and it basically becomes a banana.
Wow.
And that's what gastric sleeve is. You're taking away 3/4 of your stomach.
And if you were to have to, like, if you, for whatever reason, just had the worst night possible and you ate way too much, what happens at that point for people that don't know?
You would throw up. I mean, thankfully, knock on wood, I had my surgery November 14th, 2015.
Right.
No, 2016, excuse me. November 14th, 2016. And I never once threw up. I was never once in pain. Thankfully, there's people out there that I know that were in pain for the first 3 months after surgery. I could never imagine having to live that way. I don't know if I would have had as much success that I had now if I lived that way. But technically speaking, yes, if you intake too much that it doesn't fit in the quote unquote sleeve, because for those out there, there's actually not a sleeve inside you. So many people think that they put in some sort of sleeve in your body, but it's not like that. So if you overeat, your body will just throw it out of you. Like you just vomit, and you can't control it. It just comes up. There's no like pretty way to put it. Also, what I had to relearn was drinking. So
that's key right there.
Yeah. So just drinking water, for example, I can drink up till when I sit down at a table to eat, but as soon as I eat, I cannot drink and eat at the same time. It just doesn't work. Because of the fact of, so again, back to the food is fuel thing. When you eat, right? You're eating, so you break down nutrients for energy, right? You're just like a car, you're fueling a car.
Yep.
So when you drink while you're eating, now anybody out there could do this. When you drink while you're eating, you're actually pushing the nutrients through your digestive system before your body has a chance to break it down. So really what you're doing is you're wasting your eating. You're wasting that potential energy that you could use and go do something with, and you're wasting it, and you're pushing it through your system faster than it needs to be.
Wow.
So you can't drink and eat at the same time.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I had to relearn that. Yeah. So now when I eat, I can't drink for a half hour.
Oh, okay. But damn, that would take a long time for me to relearn right there. I got to tell you,
it was stressful because I'm a huge water drinker. My
Me
whole
too.
life, I hated soda growing up. I was never a fan. But
I used to love
water.
it.
Yeah. I love water, and I don't know why. So like not eating and not drinking water at the same time still boggles my mind.
Bro, that's a good place to be though. I now when I quit the McDonald's, Taco Bell, Wendy's, Burger King, at the same time I quit soda. So almost 2 years without that. And
Nice.
I've grown addicted to water. So like, you mean to tell me that if I had this surgery, like for me right now, I'm drinking like a gallon a day. Is that just out of the question at this point with the gastric?
No. I drink about 1.5 to 2 gallons of water a day.
Okay, great.
So you could still intake the same amount of water. The thing is, you cannot eat and drink at the same time. That's the only thing. So it's just a half hour of not drinking that takes place when you eat.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. That would drive me nuts because like I if I don't have my gallon jug of water, I feel like I'm going to go crazy.
Don't you feel weird now?
Yeah, especially because I used to, like, I have an office at work, I have a fridge, and that thing used to be stocked up, I kid you not, with like Baja Blast back when they were selling that in the store, like from Taco Bell, or different, just various sodas. And now it's all water all day long. Once in a while, I mean, maybe once a week, I'll have like a sweet tea or like a Snapple Diet Peach Tea.
Yes.
I love that stuff.
Diet Snapple, I like. when I was going through the process, they basically told us that diet Snapple is kind of almost the same as water. I don't know why. I had never looked into it, but that's what they told us. So
Really?
every now and again, So every now and again, I'll have a diet Snapple. But other than that, I mean, I'm really boring. I'm just water, black coffee with 3 equals in it, and I call it a day.
Do you have to put any kind of flavoring in the water, or you can just go straight water?
No, I just go straight water.
Yeah, same here.
Sometimes I get a little daring. I put in some lemon, but other than that,
well, like I see people like, do you take like pre-workout or any of that stuff?
I did. Up until like a year and a half ago, I was really crazy with the pre-workout.
What is your take on that? Now, as somebody like me, I've never ever taken any of it. You think I'm missing something here,
No,
or
absolutely not?
is it just a waste of money?
I used to swear by it.
Yeah.
I used to walk into a gym, and if I did not have my pre-workout before I started working out, I would mentally feel like I could not lift as heavy as I did if I was on it.
Right.
I felt like I couldn't last as long in the gym as if when I took it. But honestly, it's a placebo effect. 1,000%, it's a placebo effect.
Yeah.
Because once I kicked the habit, I mean, there's so much stuff, like you don't really know what's in a pre-workout unless you're like a gym guru who knows all these scientific names of everything that's in every supplement in the world. You really don't know what's in there. And it really becomes just a crutch. And the only reason why I ever stopped pre-workout, as scary as this sounds, I was up to like 6 scoops of some crazy pre-workout.
Wow.
And I left the gym one day and I was fine. I went home, I took a shower, I was eating with my family, and I had a major anxiety attack from the pre-workout.
Yeah, that stuff scares me, dude. I when I started this journey, I was like, I know there's all these different things out there, there's different supplements and pre-workouts and all this stuff, but like and I'll admit I'm not, the most educated on it. I'm pretty much not really educated at all. I'll be completely honest about it.
Same.
But I try to stay away from all of it because I was like, what happens if I go to the gym and just do it without all this stuff? Like, can I get through without it?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, it's just there as another additive. I mean, it's just a money maker. There's people that swear by fat burners and swear by pre-workouts, but at the end of the day, nothing is going to beat old-fashioned hard work. It may take you a little longer, but nothing's going to beat hard work.
There was a wise man that once said hard work always wins. True?
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm fortunate enough to talk to him today.
There it is. Well, dude, you're out there living it, man. When we get done with this thing, send me your information. I gotta send you out a shirt, my friend.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You're out there living it, man. The slogan, it sounds cute and goes on a t-shirt, but the truth of the matter is there's people like yourself that are out there living those words. I have the motto of I speak it, I wear it, I live it, and that's you, bro.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I love your saying, man. I love it. I have the whole gains in between thing. So if there's anybody out there who follows my journey, I just want to touch upon this really quick.
Please do. No, talk about it.
So the gains in between and what that means for me and what it means to my journey is, we all have this set of goals, this huge set of goals that we want to hit, but no one ever pays attention to the places between point A and point B and how you got there. What changed between those 2 points that was able to make you complete the journey? So that's like the gains in between to me. It's like, today you were able to lift 10 pounds.
Right.
Tomorrow you weren't able to lift 40, but you could lift 25. And that's the gains in between. You know what I mean? It's those steps that take you from point A to point B and everything in between.
Bro, I love it. And I think the problem a lot of times is people are just in such a damn hurry. They want to get to point B. They're like, the hell with what, as you say, the gains in between. They want to get so far to point B as quickly as possible, because a lot of times we're scrolling Instagram. Well, Johnny lost this and Becky lost that and all this stuff. And it's just like, man, the comparisons will kill you mentally.
Oh, all the time, man. And I lived that way for a very, very long time. And sometimes I still catch myself, with that jealousy. And it's like, you don't know what that person is going through when they close that screen. You know what I mean? the whole Instagram weight loss community, it's a beautiful community.
I love it.
I love it. I've met some, some incredible people, such as yourself included,
Definitely.
from this community. But then you don't know what they're going through, outside of their profile. People always forget that.
Yeah. You don't know what the reality is. And I think that, based on a lot of people I've met, I what they post is very accurate, but you're not always going to come across that. You're going to come across people with different, mentalities, or people that have different motives.
Right.
They got that promo code in their bio. They're trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, if I had $1, or if I had a penny for every time somebody from the It Works or the Herbalife people
my
came up in
God,
my
me
DMs, bro,
too.
I could retire right now.
Yo, if I had just, yeah, like you said, a penny for every time someone from Herbalife, DM me, I would be a very, very, very rich man, and it would be great. But it doesn't work that way. And the best is when you tell them no, they get very mad at you.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've noticed that, but they think that you are the devil at that point. And then they've tried to convince me to let them use my photos.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with false advertising, which I'm not. But like, no, you can't steal my photos now after I told you I don't want to join your pyramid scheme.
No, the thing too is I think a lot of them they're trying to get more smarter now. So like they'll start talking with you like in a deep conversation. Maybe you haven't had a chance to check out their profile yet. They're like, "Hey man, I checked out your profile, dude. You're doing really well. What do you think about, like, what's your opinion on this workout or that workout?" And you're like 6 DMs in, and then they slip you with, as Gary Vee would say, the right hook. And it's like, here's the Herbalife, here's the It Works links. I'm like, all right, man, you really try to set me up for this.
As soon as they mentioned the R word, that residual income, I'm like, all right, talk to you later. I don't want to hear it anymore.
That's what I love when I meet guys like you on there. It's like you're real, okay? And I've had the fortunate to meet a lot of people that I deem to be real. Take Lexi and Danny, Fat Girl Fed Up, Discovering Danny. I met them about a month ago, and
I saw that.
Yeah, bro, people, they would look at them and say, "Oh, let Lexi, she's got 1 million and I bet she isn't, for real and all this and that." Well, I got news for you. I spent like 2 or 3 days with these people, and they were some of the realest people that I've come across. And I could see outside looking in how you might think that, hey, they might be they might be putting on a facade here. Right. Absolutely not the case.
That's awesome, man, because they're definitely two people that I would love to meet that are involved in this community.
Yes, everybody that I have met has been just real. Like, there's that emoji for the 100%. Everybody I've met should have that just tattooed on their forehead, because they're all real and they're all authentic. And this community, bro, I mean, let's talk about that now. Let's shift the conversation there, if you will. As Dusty Rhodes say, if you will, baby. Talk about the part where you decide, okay, now let's document the journey. Because I'm assuming that at some point you want to help people, right? I mean, you want to put it out there. Talk about that.
So I'm going to be honest with everybody out there. I didn't want to make a page. I'll be 100% with you. So I've been involved in social media marketing for like the last, 4 years or so.
Right.
And I was in promotional marketing for a long time. So when I was heavy, I was a club promoter. I was a club promoter for like 5-6 years. And I knew my way around Instagram,
Sure.
But I never wanted to be that guy because I didn't know how real they were, just like we were saying before, like, and I didn't want to like give people access to my life because I didn't think people wanted to hear that I went to the gym and I was barely able to do 15 reps of 10 pounds. Like, I don't want to hear about that shit.
Right.
But as I discovered the community more and more, I began to understand it. And actually, my best friend at the time, he's the one who made my journey page because I refused to make it. I didn't want it. So I'll never forget. It was New Year's Day of 2017, and we were out for New Year's, and he looks at me and he goes, "Here, take this password." And I'm like, "What is this?" And he's like, "This is the password to your journey page." And I'm like, "Man, I don't want this. Like, this is not for me." And he was like, "Just do me a favor. Don't put it out there. You don't have to advertise it, but use it to be accountable. And that is a word that has haunted me since I started this journey is accountability.
Yeah.
Man, if you, I mean, that's dumb for me to say, the power of accountability. When
Yes.
you are able to keep yourself accountable and responsible for your own actions, you can literally do anything you want to do. It's crazy. It's insane. So anyway, he gave me this tool, he gave me the page, and all of a sudden I started to post on it just for me. I had no followers on it. It was literally just for me. And then all of a sudden, people started coming out of the woodwork. And I was heavy at the time. I did not make any major gains. I had hit 0 goals. And all of a sudden, people just got behind me. And it was people just from my community at first, people I went to high school with that I didn't really know. We weren't friends. They started supporting me. They started following. They would comment on my stuff. And the next thing you know, it just kind of like it was that snowball effect. And people just started following it, and then people were giving me shout outs for no reason at all. and that's literally, the story of JR's journey. That's how it grew. Because honestly, if you read those beginning posts, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's key.
Yeah, and that's really all it was, because it was like this built up emotion that I had that I didn't even know that I had, and that I was able to put it somewhere. When you hold on to something for so long, it begins to weigh you down. It doesn't matter. If you hold your hand out in front of you, it's going to start to hurt after a while, because you're holding matter and you don't even know it, Oh, yeah. So like this built up, pent up emotion, it just began to get to me, and I had no idea. And then once I had an outlet that I was able to express myself, it was like, holy shit, this was like 100 pounds lifted off of me that I didn't lose yet,
Yeah.
So that's it, that's how it started.
And this is why, you share the good and the bad. And I tell this to people all the time when they ask me, I'm like, don't be afraid to share the bad stuff. I know it might be uncomfortable, but here's why it's good, because there's going to be like probably 30, 40, 50 people that are going to come across your posts that are in the same position or similar, and they might say to themselves, okay, I feel you. And then guess what happens next? They're either in your DMs, they're in your comments like, hey man, you got this, hey bro, or hey girl, you got this, go get it, and you get all the support, even in the downtime. So I tell people, take so many pictures, I've never taken more pictures, John, in the last 2 years I've ever taken in my life, because I want to document this whole thing, because I want to remember
That's right, man.
where it starts, where I'm at, where I'm going, and I can look back. And I love pulling back those old pictures, as I like to joke, old balloon face at nearly 400 pounds, and then put them up with the Gary of now. The Gary of now, who's still a work in progress. I think we're all still a work in progress, but it's like you put these two together, and it's like, wow, look at this.
For a lot of people, I mean, myself included, during the beginning of the journey, it was like not until I made those transformation pictures, those side-by-side shots, was I able to see progression. I mean, I tell people all the time, I didn't really start to see true progression in myself, in my physical being, till probably about 1.5 years in.
Yeah, takes a while.
I was working my ass off, and I would look at Steve all the time, and I'd be like, man, like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not seeing anything different, And that's probably where the birth of the Gains in Between came from, because he literally sat me down and he was like, listen, look at what you're able to do right now that you were not able to do a month ago.
Yes.
Compare the two, and then see, you don't have to lose 100 pounds overnight to be successful. And once I really got that down in my head, and I really accepted the Gains in Between for what they were, that's when I was able to start knocking out these goals. But like you said before, the people in this community that keep it real, I'm not afraid to show my failure on my page. I like showing myself fail in the gym more than I like bragging that I went to the gym, more than I like putting up a set that I did amazing, that I look like a rock star. I'd rather show that I failed, that I fell down, that I was able to pick myself back up, and that I continued, than I would showing me a set of just like butter. You know what I mean?
Definitely. It's like Gary Vee talks about this a lot. It's like loving to lose. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? When you learn to love to lose, you're learning, you're constantly learning, and it helps you evolve into a better person. losing. If you're just out there winning all the damn time, you're never going to learn anything.
No, never.
You know,
you don't know the feeling of loss.
You're gonna be on a runaway train that's ready to derail. You're gonna be like Amtrak. I hate to throw them under the bus. So you're gonna be like derailing if all you do is just nothing but win, and you don't understand what it's like to lose and hit hard or hit rock bottom, because it's really great to hit those points because you get to learn. Yes, it's unfortunate, and yes, it hurts sometimes, and yes, it drags you down mentally, but these are the experiences that will teach you, that will set you up for the future. You have to lose to win.
Right, exactly. I mean, 1,000%, man. Like if you've never suffered loss a day in your life, how are you going to handle it when you do?
Oh my God.
You know?
Yeah.
And the biggest progression comes from failure. You know, I'd rather fail, and I tell people this all the time. I'd rather fail than succeed. Why? Because failure will only make me succeed.
Definitely. It goes back to the 4 pillars I operate on. The very first one, which is patience. I operate on 4 of them, John. It's patience, consistency, hard work, and love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, it's game over. And if you don't work hard, you're pretty much screwed. If you ain't consistent, it ain't happening. If you ain't patient, man, you're just going to bring yourself to a screeching halt. You're not going to get anything done. So I believe you need these 4 pillars. And that's not just a weight loss thing. That's a life thing right there.
Right.
You want to start a business, you want to lose weight, you want to do whatever it is you want to do. You operate on those 4 pillars, and that's how you're going to set yourself up for success.
Exactly. I mean, this journey is more than weight loss. And if you're just in this journey just to lose weight, you're not going to be as fulfilled as you could be, because this journey of weight loss is just the beginning. Like I've found myself more in the last 6 months than I did, this whole time. I've suffered loss. I've celebrated gains. I've had injuries. I've been to the bottom of the barrel, and I fought my way back to the top so many times on this journey. Yeah. And every time I love it more than I did before. You know what I mean? Like my friends look at me like I'm crazy. I tore my meniscus this year on my birthday, on my 25th birthday. I tore and flipped my meniscus during wrestling training.
Wow.
And I was not even mad about it.
Yeah.
Like I had to go for surgery. I had to go through physical therapy. I'm still in physical therapy. I'm not where I was, before August. But you know what? It was that push down effect that made me rise to the occasion and get what I wanted more. Definitely.
It lights a fire in your ass to keep going.
Right. Exactly.
And the community, as you say, it's just been tremendous. I definitely talk about the community a lot and how much it means to me. Unfortunately, a lot of times, or not a lot of times, but there are times where you're going to come across people that, just ain't supporting you. And I talk about, when you got that dead weight, you just got to cut that off. You got a little snip. You ever had a problem like this, where you get somebody that maybe they were there early on and they just disappear? Has that ever happened to you?
You're saying within the online community or in real life?
Actually, I had one in real life, but I mean, any probably real life. Has that happened to you in the real life?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely happened to me. I've definitely cut myself away from people that brought me down. I don't hang out with this. Like, I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. Like, I had a lot of acquaintances, because I just gave myself a pity party. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, I was just like, you're the fat kid. No one really likes you. You got to be funny, make them laugh, and go home. So I really didn't have like a core group of friends. And then when I really started to build momentum on my journey, I definitely saw myself cut them off a little bit more. I mean, I'm friendly to everybody. I don't live with regret anymore. And I don't live with like a vengeful attitude, I guess you could call it. So I'm very open-minded. I'm very nice to everybody now. 4 years ago, I was definitely not that person. I was like that mean-spirited, this guy tried to screw me over, so now I have to screw him over.
Yeah.
Now I'm not like that. I'm not miserable. I was miserable for so long, and like I found the good in life, and now I realize, why be miserable? Life is beautiful. I wake up every morning and I smile, and I can't wait to take on my day. I look forward to going to the gym. I look forward to going to wrestling training. I love the life that I live because I made it. Before that, I didn't make that life. I was handed that life. I was, dealt a really bad hand of cards, and I threw myself a pity party. You know, I was always like, well, you know, if I wasn't fat, I would have the hot girl in school and I would have all the cool guys around me and we'd be the best. Well, guess what? It's not like that. If you want it, you got to chase it. You got to work for it. And once you work for it, that's when you get that feeling of, wow, I did it. I can do it. What else do I want to do?
Yeah, no, it's so true. You know, I always talk about how I think it's important to have as I like to call them, a good squad around you, people that support you and lift you up. And if they're not there for support and to lift you up, you just got to kind of, you know, not in the old, you know, because old Gary, believe me, Petty Roosevelt all day long, you know, just, you know, being really upset about it. But it's like, now it's like, all right, I'm going to wish you well. I'm going to leave you to do whatever it is that you're going to do. And I'm going to go do what I got to do over here. But ultimately it comes back to you, John. It's like, no one else is going to wake your ass up at 4 o'clock in the morning. No one else is going to slap that slice of pizza out of your hand. It starts with you. It ends with you. You know, that's the way it's got to go, you know? So in many sense, yes, I have people around me that are very supportive, but I always generally act almost as if I'm an army of one, because I know that I have to push forward. I have to push myself to get to where I want to be. Absolutely no one is going to walk up and hand it to me.
No, yeah, no one's going to hold your hand to the finish line. That's just not how life works, unfortunately. But you know, it takes me back to the accountability thing. Only you are going to keep yourself accountable. You know, we go back to we don't see what's going on behind the screen when the screen closes. Well, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors when we're not there. So, you know, you could go and have that slice of pizza and you could never report it and no one's going to know, Gary. You know what I mean? No one's going to really know if you had it. Only you will. And if you want to live with that guilt, then be my guest. But personally, I don't live with guilt and I don't want to live that way.
Yeah, it all comes down to the choices. It's like, you got the good choices, you got the bad choices. And look, I have fallen off more than my fair share of times, even in this journey currently as it stands.
Right.
But the thing about it is, you got to get back up. It's like, okay, we'll use the wrestling face. I got a fellow wrestling fan here on the on the podcast. You got to kick out, brother.
That's right.
1, 2, you got to kick out, near fall.
That's right. That's right. Kip up, get it again, brother. You know what I mean? That's
right. You got to get back to it. There's probably hundreds of people that this is right over their head, but I finally have a fellow wrestling fan on the podcast again, so I had to throw that in there.
I love it. Don't worry about it. We could talk all day.
Oh, believe me. So let's talk about one of the things I like to do when we really start to wrap these things up. And I appreciate your time, and definitely we're gonna hang out and we're gonna do a face-to-face one of these for sure.
Oh, definitely. And you know, watch out, because we're going to document the whole thing. But first of all, I want to thank you for bearing with me, because the last 2 weeks have been a little rough. I know we were supposed to do this like 2 weeks ago. So again, I appreciate you holding on and waiting for me.
I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. What I want to talk about right now, though, is like the roadmap 3, 5, 10 years out, because we're always moving forward. And I can tell right off the bat, you're on that track. You're moving forward. You talk about wanting to do the wrestling thing. What does the next 3, 5, 10 years look like for you?
Man, I am so all over the place. I would like to have a podcast of my own, like you have.
And hold on. If you don't end this with headlining WrestleMania, I'm gonna reach out of this phone and slap you. Okay?
No problem. So I definitely. You know, I posted a couple of days ago, you know, some of my goals for 2019. So I definitely would like to be on more podcasts this year.
Yes.
You know, my goal is to at least be on 5 podcasts in 2019. I would like to start a motivational speaking tour within the next 2 years. Yeah. And I would definitely love to have the outline of a book written by, you know, at least March. Just have the outline totally written out by March. I know I'm giving myself a little bit extra time there, but you know, good things come to those who wait and really work for it.
Bro, let me tell you, I don't want to cut you off right there, but I'm in the process of writing one right now, and you never seen toughness till you try to write a book about you. And you think like the thought is like, oh, well, it's my own experience and I can just drop this and this and this. And it's like, man, there's a whole lot more that goes into it. I've been working on this thing for the past year and it's blowing my mind right now. I got to tell you,
I'll be honest. I tried like 7 months ago just to try to write the outline and just hit the ground running. And I face exactly what you said. Like, there's just so much that you could talk about. You don't know how to limit it. You know what I mean? So
I think
So
I think for me, like, I decided a long time ago that I wasn't gonna do like the whole journey. Like, this
right.
first book has got to be the beginning, like before all this stuff started, and then
Mhm.
the journey to the first 100 pounds, and it's just got to stop right there. And then
Exactly. Well, I
like,
like how you said the first book because
yeah,
that's exactly how I look at it.
yeah, it's got to be multiple. It's got to be multiple parts, and that's not, oh, he's so full of himself and all that. It's like, this is a long journey, and to share the stuff that you learn to hopefully help other people. There's a lot of content there. It's like, I've been doing this podcast now for since May of 2017, and this is like episode, I think, 77 or 78 or something like that. And I'm sure when people,
Congratulations, man. That's incredible.
well, thank you. And I'm sure when people look at those, I'm like, no, this says like 75 or something. So I'll probably be way off on that, but it's in the 70s. I know that much for sure. So like, it takes a long time, man, to put out all this content and information to try to help others. And I hope that you do get your own going. And believe me, I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can.
Yeah, and I
with
would
that.
definitely love to have you on there. You know what
Of
I'm
course,
saying?
of course, bro. And so I hope that you definitely make that a reality, because one of the things, and I know my man, I got to give a shout out to my man Daryl Perry. And if you're not following him, bro, hit him up at Your Level Fitness. He's one of the good ones, dude, and he's out there actively encouraging people in our community to start their own podcast for the sole purpose of documenting their journeys with their voice. And I love that. I don't want to steal his thunder. I just want to tell people to go follow him and listen to what he's putting out there, but he's encouraging people to start their own podcast. And I love that.
That's awesome, actually. So again, back to the goals.
Definitely.
I definitely would like to see myself in some capacity working for WWE within the next 7 years,
Yes.
whether that be a developmental contract, whether that be on the main stage, whatever. It could be even just doing their social media for all I care. But to some capacity before, God takes me home, I would love to work for them one day. And just the motivational speaking tour. That's really what I would love to focus on.
Right.
I want to get face to face with like-minded people like ourselves and really show them the bigger picture and show them, you don't have to live in this little thought bubble as if you're not capable of doing anything, because I live that life, and it's so easy to escape that life if you just give it a chance.
No, you're absolutely right. And as we wrap this thing up, I'll leave you with this. And again, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much. I'll leave you with this. Imagine this. MetLife Stadium, they're coming next year, but imagine when they come back the next time, and that could be you on that stage in front of 80,000 people. I'm just saying.
You're giving me goosebumps over here.
Just think about it now. The pop, you're walking through Gorilla, you walk past Vince. God bless him. I hope he's still around for that. And
Yeah.
you're walking past Gorilla, which for people that have no idea is the backstage area where they get everybody lined up ready to go out. And you walk through that curtain out into MetLife Stadium, and you have 80,000 people just roaring. Imagine
just
that,
wait
bro.
on it, brother, because it's gonna happen. All right.
All right, there you go. There you go. So as we wrap up here, tell everybody where they get you. If they're not already following you, where do they follow you? Where do you want them to go? Tell them where to go.
Follow me at JARP's Journey, JARPS_journey on Instagram. I'm working on making a Twitter for the journey section of my life. I'm really not a big Twitter guy, I'll be honest with you.
Me neither.
And you can follow me, be my friend. I don't know what the terminology is these days, but you can find me on Facebook, John Arpino, JOHN ARPINO. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those people who I answer all DMs.
Right.
So private message me, DM me, comment my page. I will talk to you. I like to know what's going on.
Are you doing YouTube at all?
No, but you know what? Let's add that to the goal list, because I'm
There you
I'm definitely interested in that whole sector. I just don't know anything about it.
Bro, we talk about, being accountable, the good times and the bad. I said last year, one of my goals for this year was going to be to launch the YouTube. I did launch it, and that thing just went right to hell. And I need to pick that son of a bitch right back up and get it going again.
There's so many platforms out there now. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So like if you're not everywhere, where are you?
Exactly. So I tell people I hang out on Instagram full time. That's where I hang out. I love Instagram there.
9 to 5.
Yeah. Well, John, dude, man, thank you so much. You've got really an inspiring story. And I think today we've helped a lot of people just by you sharing your story. I think they've learned a lot, man. So thank you, brother.
Thank you for having me, man. And again, thank you for waiting on the hot tag. All right.
I love that reference. We're going to end it right there, man. I appreciate you.
All right, brother. Be good.
Thank you.
Take care, bro.
Guys, before we get out of here, I want to give a big shout out to my Patreon podcast producers, Daryl at Your Level Fitness and Amy at Gym of the Gym, GEM of the GYM. Make sure you're following these amazing people. They're out there inspiring people on a daily basis. Thank them huge for supporting me on Patreon. If you want to support me on Patreon, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. We have some great perks. You can throw out just $1. And believe me, if I had $1, for $1 from everyone that listens here, that would be super, super helpful. But hey, people that support me on Patreon heard this show on Monday as opposed to Wednesday. They're hearing the show 2 days early. In some cases, and actually the normal, it's going to be even earlier than that. So if you're caught up on podcasts and you don't want to wait, if you support me on Patreon for as low as $4 a month, you're getting the show early. You're getting it without all the ads, like this one that I'm reading right now. And you get access to my close friends group on Instagram, where I'm doing exclusive stories for those that are a part of that group. If you donate $10 a month, you will hear your name. Just like I shouted out Daryl and Amy, you're going to hear your name alongside theirs. That's limited to 10. Right now we have 2 spots that are taken, only 8 more spots left if you want to join the Patreon podcast producers. And we've got the Hard Work Squad where you can get a t-shirt. We've got the Let's Chat where you can do one-on-one video chats with me. You can throw all your problems at me and we could talk about it, or we can talk about whatever you want pretty much for up to 1 hour. So there's some amazing perks with Patreon. Patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. Let me tell you guys about hardworkalwayswins.com. It's not just a clothing line. It's my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it, and I want you guys to rep it today. Join the squad. We got t-shirts, we got beanies, we got hats, we got tank tops, hoodies, phone cases, you name it, we got it. Just in the store as of this week. I am worth the fight. Are you worth the fight? Damn right you're worth the fight. So get the shirt and show everybody what's up. We got Fight Like Hell for the Life You Want. We got the 4 pillars. We got the original OG Hard Work Always Wins shirt in many different designs. All you got to do is head over to hardworkalwayswins.com, enter the code SQUAD at checkout, and I'm going to take 10% off your very first order. That's right. I'm doing that. I went there. So go to the store, check it out, find what you want, add that code SQUAD at checkout, and join the Hard Work Squad today.